Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. It's Pacific Classic Saturday at Del Mar. It is the signature race of the Meet the Pacific Classic, the signature day of the meet. Tons of classy horses. Let's take a look at race 7, the Grade 2 Del Mar Mile, 1 mile on the turf. $300,000 is the purse. Labor Day sale ongoing at shop.drf.com. Up to 50% off PP's picks, clock reports, the digital paper, and lots more. Again, learn more. Shop.drf.com. Take advantage of the sale. Here's the field for a quality edition of the Del Mar Mile. Exalted, the number 4, is a tepid 3-1 morning line favorite. He is perfect since being switched to the turf, but there are plenty of horses in this race with more than a good chance of winning.
Yeah, I mean, I get why the 4 is the morning line favorite for sure. Undefeated on the turf, coming off of a Grade 1 win, going the mile. And he's just made no mistakes so far, Dan, but this is a really good field and a lot of different horses can win.
The number 1 Du Jour has kind of been an underrated horse for most of his career. He was a graded stakes winner at 3, Grade 1 placed at 3. Then he missed a lot of time, and he's come back in pretty good form for Bob Baffert. Here's his most recent race, the Wicker at Del Mar. It's only a restricted stakes race, but as you see, Del Mar is Du Jour is in behind horses at Del Mar. And let's do it again. I lost my train of thought.
Yeah. Did you skip the pace projector?
I did. I'm completely. Let's just start the whole thing over.
Okay.
Pace projector.
I was like, oh no, where's he going with this?
I'm off the rails. I'm thinking about the alpacas.
All right, whenever you're ready.
Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. It's Pacific Classic Saturday at Del Mar. Tremendous racing throughout the entire program. Race number 7 is the Grade 2 Del Mar Mile, mile on the turf, 300 grander. Before we take a look at this quality field, remember that our Labor Day sale is ongoing at shop.drf.com, up to 50% off. PP's picks, clock reports, and the digital paper. Learn more at shop.drf.com. Take advantage of this sale. Here's the field for the Grade 2 Del Mar Mile. You've got a field of 10 good turf milers. Exalted, the number 4, unbeaten on turf, is a tepid 3-1 morning line favorite. Many of these horses have a good chance to win.
I agree. I mean, I get why the 4 is the favorite, though. He's undefeated on turf, as you say. He's coming off of a Grade 1 win, going this distance. He's just made no mistakes so far, and I'm sure that he's going to attract plenty of money here. But he's going to have to show up again, Dan. He's facing a good field here.
There's some strong closers in this race that might need some pace. So as we throw up the Timeform US pace projector, we see that the 7, I'm a Gambler, can be close to the pace, and he was close to a fast pace last time. Visitants off a layoff stretching out. You got to think he's going to be forwardly placed. The good news for a horse like Exalted is he seems like he's pace adaptable. He can stay close without burning himself out, and he doesn't have to come from far back.
Yeah, I agree with you. It feels like he's the kind of horse who could really fall into a trip here. We'll see how the pace all plays out. I really can't argue with this pace projector, though. I'm a Gambler was involved on a pretty solid pace in his most recent start. He could go forward again here. Visitant just kind of feels like the kind of horse who has to be forward, whether he's good enough or not.
The 3, the 5, and the 10, they're all strong closers. They're dependent on some pace. They're also dependent on some racing luck in this bulky field. The number 1 Du Jour has been an underrated horse for most of his career. Graded stakes winner at 3, Grade 1 placed at 3. He missed a lot of time, and he's come back in pretty good form for Bob Baffert. He's been a bit of an up and downer throughout his career, but his last race was an up race at Del Mar. This is the restricted Wicker, and you see Du Jour sort of split horses here, and he's getting in a little bit tight. He's looking for a place to go, and he's finally going to find a seam, and he's going to dive on through, and he is going to come with a very strong final furlong to get up.
Yeah, he's very game there to go through in tight between horses. Then he got the room, and he really finishes up. This is that I'm a Gambler race we were just talking about, though. This pace was pretty solid in front of Du Jour there. So once he got clear, and that was really the only question in that race, was he going to get clear in time to close those horses down? He did. He ran really well in there. His overall form is rock solid. Is he the best closer in this race? I'm not sure, but trips could make the difference.
The number 2 Sumter, very lightly raced. Mike Smith, Richard Mandela, coming off a close 5th place finish in a high-level allowance race, first off the layoff. I wonder if Mandela used that race as a prep to stretch this horse back out going a mile. He's been very successful at this distance in the past. Multiple stakes winner going 8 furlongs, and a horse that has shown route speed.
Yeah, he really has. It's not really an issue that they're going to stretch him back out to a mile here, Dan. I'm just a little bit more concerned that they actually felt like they consciously tried to make him a sprinter at the end of last year and into this year. And I just sort of took that as a bad sign, but maybe I'm just reading too much into that. They're going to stretch him back out here. The distance is no problem. I wonder whether he's good enough.
After winning 2 Grade 1 stakes races during the spring of 2022, you could make an argument that the 3 Count Again was one of the top 3 turf horses in the country. Unfortunately, he got hurt. He missed over a year of time. Last time out in the Eddie Reed, I think that race was a prep. I know he was the favorite in that race. They took him far back because that is his running style. He saved ground. He was over and behind horses in the stretch. I think he got a lot out of that race, and I'm expecting a much improved performance with that race under his girth.
I'm going to look at him the same way, Dan. I mean, it did feel like they were just giving him a race there off the layoff, and he ran on a little bit through the stretch there. He should be tighter for this. This is really his best distance when you talk about the 1 mile on the grass. This is probably what he really wants to do. But listen, he's 8 years old now, so we'll see if he's ever going to get back to that form that he was in before that long layoff. To me, he's the best horse in the race if he can still run.
Exalted the number 4 for 4 since being switched to turf by trainer Peter Urton. Let's watch his last race. It's the Shoemaker Mile. He's had a very good trip, tracking 2 long shots, but he was also chasing a very fast pace. And he runs into the teeth of the pace to grab the lead. You're going to see Irideo split horses from way out of it to end up getting second, but Exalted always has enough to fight this horse off. I wonder if we've seen his best yet, because he's yet to buy her 100, so this will kind of be his biggest class test to date.
Yeah, it is. To me, it is his biggest class test to date, but I still like that performance last time, and he did take a step forward in there. I thought he had a great trip in that race, but you're right that the pace was pretty solid, and he ran into it before he took over. I just can't really knock him, Dan. That doesn't mean I want to bet him as the favorite in here, but I think he's going to get another good trip in this race, and he'll probably be on the lead when this field turns into the stretch, and he's not going to be easy to run down.
When Balnikov gets a setup and he gets a trip, he kicks like a mule. Let's watch his most recent race. Second in the Eddie Reed, going 1 1/8 miles. And we're going to watch Balnikov here. He's sort of over in behind horses in upper stretch, and he really never gets clear. He stays over in behind. He's finally going to get out now with the run. And when he does, he makes it relatively close against Gold Phoenix, who's a pretty good horse that we'll see later on the Saturday card. I thought this was yet another good performance for Balnikov. Maybe they go around this time.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking the same thing when I watched that replay. I'm not really sure what his rider there was thinking, but he looked like he was going to try to edge out. Then he decided, maybe I'll go back in. There's no room there. Now I'll go back out. And by the time he went to the outside there, it was just too late. But Balnikov, to his credit, he still ran in that race, and he almost got there. This horse, you're right, trips are very important to him. He's going to need to work something out from the back of the pack. But if he gets clear in the stretch and he's within range, he will come running.
Number 6, Visitant, very confidently entered by trainer Peter Miller. We haven't seen him since February. He was listed as a Del Mar vet scratch last Saturday. And while he's the king of synthetic, he's won 11 of 15 on synth, he's still kind of unproven as a turf horse. I expect to see some fresh speed stretching out off the layoff, but he kind of caught a tough spot here.
Yeah, he's not my kind of horse to be taking a shot with in here, but he does, listen, if he can transfer a synthetic form over, it obviously makes him a contender in this race, and maybe he just falls into a really good trip in this race. He's just a tough read on the surface, Dan, because the only turf start came way back in 2019. It was a grade 2. He didn't run that well, but it was followed up by a layoff that extended beyond a year, so it just feels like something went wrong in that race.
I think the 7 I'm a Gambler is a very dangerous contender in here, and if you can get a price on him, you might want to use him. He's 8-1 on the morning line. He's only raced twice in North America, but his last race was that Wicker that we saw when we talked about Du Jour. He was up close to that very fast pace, and he was fighting it out all the way down to the wire. He only got beat 3 lengths. It was his first start in 7 months. Maybe he doesn't have to work as hard to get forward position here, and he should be tighter with that race underneath him.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to look at him, Dan. I mean, he did take a step forward last time, and he did all the hard work in that race before he just got caught at the end. So maybe he'll take a step forward here. Maybe this pace, won't be quite as fast, and it'll work a little bit more to his advantage. I just wish I liked some of his other races a little bit more.
The number 8 War at Sea is very lightly raced for trainer Ron Ellis, who I like the way Ellis managed this horse in 2022. He just moved him steadily through his conditions. He won 3 in a row, including the Cinema, and then the Del Mar Derby. That was a race where they ran 1, 2, 3 all the way around the track. And this horse, I thought, tried really hard to only get beat a length. His most recent start, again, just looks like a total prep. 5/8 sprinting off of a long layoff. I think it set him up perfectly for this.
Yeah, I agree. I don't care about that race so much, except that's the way that you laid it out there. It just feels like they were giving him one to, get him to progress him into this race, and we'll see if he handles what is a pretty significant step up in class. And that was the one thing I worried about him with, Dennis, because you mentioned the Del Mar Derby, what was kind of a merry-go-round race. They just went sort of 1, 2, 3 around the track, and he was certainly in position that day. He did try hard, but he was in the right spot. Even when he won that stakes race 3 starts back, slow early, fast late. He was right up close. He took over and he got the job done. I'm not sure how good this horse is. I think he's got to improve again.
The number 9 Twist gets a class quiz as well. He's going to be stepping up off this second level allowance win at Del Mar on 1 1/8. This was a race that featured a pretty fast pace. You saw him kind of lug out badly turning into the stretch, but he's just so much the best as the favorite. It didn't bother him. He looks very green in this race, Mike. There's something here with this horse. He runs fast, but I don't think he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, it's very strange too, because it's not like he's a newcomer to the race. This is his 16th career start. He wins for fun, but he was like a handful for his jockey to handle there. He's gonna have to keep his mind on his manners in this race, but it feels like this horse can run a little bit.
Irideo is a true closer. We saw him finish second at huge odds behind Exalted in the Shoemaker Mile. All in all, that trip kind of worked out, where he was able to save at the back behind a quick pace, got through in between horses. And for a brief second, it looked like he was going to go on by Exalted, and Exalted just wouldn't let that happen. Last time out in the wicker, again, far back, just had too much to make up late.
Yeah, his running style, when they first got him over here, he actually was close to the pace at a few starts. But since then, it's just been all take him back and make one run. And he is, to his credit, he's shown up in every one of those races. This horse, you can rely on him to make a run through the stretch. He's another horse. I don't think he's the best closer in this race, Dan. I thought he'd need to catch a break or two.
A really good edition of the Del Mar Mile. We're going to take a look at our top selections right now. You're going to go with Balnikov. He kicks very, very hard in the stretch, and I think the pace should be fair. I'm not saying it's going to be blazing, but I think it's going to be fair, and he'll run late.
He will. I mean, listen, you know what you're getting into when you take Balnikov, and I'm a fan of his. I know where he's going to be. I know what's going to have to happen for him to win, but I think he's going to be a fair price in this race, Dan, and I think he can go with these horses if the trip works out.
I'm concerned that Exalted's going to end up too short to be a play on the win end. What I like about him is not only his consistency, obviously he has that big win streak on the turf, but he's tactical. He doesn't have to come from 100 lengths out of it and then be at the mercy of a trip. He can make his own trip, and I think that could be key here in the Del Mar Mile. The 7 horse intrigues me a little bit after chasing that fast pace last time. 5-3-4-1 for Mike, 4-1-5-7 for me. It's the Del Mar Mile. It's a sensational Saturday at Del Mar with the Pacific Classic, the main event. Good luck.